So I just got off of a coaching call with one of my clients, literally 2 hours ago. This guy, he had a situation with a girl where, let's say her mess ups or her disrespectful behavior, let's say we'll refer to them as strikes. 1 strike, 2 strikes. So he wanted to know, where do you draw the line or the boundary to a girl without being too much of an asshole and at the same time without being too much of a nice guy and a pushover? So just a bit of a backstory to what happened between him and her. This guy, he met this girl at some function and he picked her up, right? That's what they call it, pickup artist, where you go to a girl and you talk to her, cold approach, and then you get her number, and then later you exchange contact information and you later, you go out with her 1 time, 2 times, whatever. So that's exactly what happened with him and her. And he was seeing her for a period of around 6 months. So several situations have happened where he doesn't know if he reacted the right way or the wrong way. Here's what happened. The first situation that pissed him off was the fact that this girl, one time he was at a function with her and he was talking to her, and then she was saying, I need a guy to put me in my place whenever I'm being disrespectful or I'm being wrong with him, I'm being out of line with him, but I don't think you'll be able to do that. The first strike to that woman was that thing she said. It pissed him off. And then he just told her something like, okay, you could just go and see another guy if that's the case, or you could go to some other guy and hang out with another guy, date another guy. He didn't like that. Months later, the next situation was that he was talking to her and she was taking his opinion for a photo she was posting on Instagram. Mind you, him and her were serious. It wasn't just like they met only once. And she was asking him, if I posted a picture of myself in a bikini on Instagram, how would you respond to that? And this guy, being the man he is, with the background that he has, he was just like, I'm not gonna like that. Because I feel like that's something that a single girl would do, not something that a girl who's in a relationship or serious about being in a relationship, potential relationship with the guy she's talking to. But then she was like, oh, you're too controlling, you're being too controlling, you're taking away my freedom, I don't know what to do. That was the second strike. And there was an argument about that. All right, moving on. The third strike was that after him and her had a nice date, it was a great date, and then he was in the car with her, he tried to kiss her, but she backed off from him. And then she was just like, I'm sorry, I'm not comfortable doing this because, not even because I'm sick, because there's something with my lips. I can't even remember what it is. I can't remember what she said. And he was like, that's definitely bullshit because I specialize in like Botox. So that's definitely bullshit what she's saying. And also, there's also a fourth strike. The fourth strike was that he wanted to go out with her one time. He asked her out, like, when are you free? And then when he was trying to make plans with this girl, she was like, I'm sorry, there's something wrong with my throat. And she wasn't even sick. She just made that excuse up to him. How does he know this? There's like history between them, whatever it is. So that's 4 strikes right there. And he wanted to know in every situation, he did kind of draw a line and draw a boundary. However, there was too much back and forth. She was too much of a, a nagging B word. I'm not gonna say the word. I don't want this video to get put down. And she was kind of too passive aggressive. She didn't get the love she wanted as a child. That's what he says. And so she was like very passive aggressive. And also on top of that, sometimes she would show so much interest in blowing up his phone, and sometimes she would just ignore him for 10 days. And he was asking me, coach, what should I do? And here's how I thought would be the best way to respond to these situations. Because truthfully, I don't really go through these situations. And if I did, it was like years ago in my past. If I go through situations like this, it's always usually from the very beginning. Like for example, we would disagree on something where our values don't align. So we're just like, all right, what's the point? All right, have a nice day. I mean, like, I wish you luck in your future, whatever. So although he didn't necessarily handle it super wrong, because there was drama, that's the wrong part about it. He did draw the line and he was just like, I don't appreciate this behavior. I don't appreciate blah, blah, blah. Here's how I told him I would respond, although I haven't been through those specific situations. I just told him, listen, the way you're responding to these situations makes me uncomfortable. It's not something that I like. And also it makes me not able to take you seriously. However, I'm not one to control you. I can't control you. So if that's how you are, then so be it. And this is not gonna work out. Just that, and see how she responds. If she responds positively and says, you know what, I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry that that's not to your liking. I'm gonna try to change my behavior for that. Especially since she wants to be called out on behavior like that, according to her own words. I want a guy who's gonna put me in my place whenever I'm out of line. And I don't think that guy is you. She literally said that to him. That's the first. Or the second, she's gonna be like, I'm sorry, this is just who I am. You're very controlling. I don't like being controlled. That's the second option, which I don't even think she would say, you're being very controlling, because he specifically said, or he would specifically say in the situation that I recommended, that I'm not one to control you. I can't control you. But if this is how you act, I don't put up with it and I can't take you seriously. I won't be able to take you seriously. You see, the good thing about this response is 2 things. Number 1, you're drawing the boundary, you're drawing the line. Number 2, you're not being too much of a jerk, too much of an asshole. You're being calm, you're being firm. There's no back and forth, and unnecessary drama. but you're being firm and you're being honest and authentic. Because to some other men, truthfully, they're not gonna care if their girlfriend or a girl they're seeing for like 6 months is posting a photo of her on the beach with a bikini on. But other guys might not just like that. It's like you're showing your body parts to everyone else. I don't like that. And truthfully, I agree with that approach. You know, it also depends on the background you're from, but anyways, the point is, to him, he didn't like those specific behaviors. And so he's asking, how do I draw that line? You draw the line by being firm, calm, and not overreactive. You say what you need to say and you mean it, but keep it short, sweet, and concise. Best advice ever, in my opinion. Keep it short and sweet and concise. You don't overdo it and be over dramatic and just talk to her and try to yell at her and try to control her. Oh, if you don't do this, I'm gonna do this. If you don't do this, I'm gonna leave. No, instead keep it nice and calm, state what you want, state it firmly but calmly and in a respectful tone. Because what's gonna happen if that's the case? If she's not interested after that, and if that's something that she cannot handle, or if that is something that is not to her liking, she could leave. You're basically opening the door. The door's right there. If you don't wanna stay here, you could always leave. I'm not gonna keep you, I'm not gonna force you to stay with me. However, I cannot take you seriously if you keep rejecting me like this. That's what I told him, because he got rejected a lot of times in different forms. If a girl's out here telling you that, oh, you're not gonna be able to call me out on my behavior. I want a guy who's gonna call me out on my behavior, but you're not gonna be able to do it. First of all, even if she thinks that, that is also disrespectful because she wasn't being playful to him. She was being really serious about it. And I think he handled it the right way. He maybe overreacted in terms of, all right, you don't want me to go see another guy. But also you have to be firm but calm. Listen, I don't appreciate this. I mean, like, I'm not gonna be able to take you seriously if you're calling me out on stuff like this, if you're rejecting me like this, and I can't control you. So if that's something you can't do, then we might as well just part ways. Boom, that's it, simple. Simple, sweet, and concise. When you wanna plant boundaries and establish firm boundaries, you have to be honest about them, but you don't have to be over the top. You see, a lot of guys think that women just love assholes and wanna be smacked around and wanna be treated unfairly just because that's a stereotype of what a lot of people believe in. And I'm here to tell you that that's a bunch of bullshit. You could be firm and fair at the same time. You can be firm and kind at the same time. You can be firm and compassionate at the same time without being an asshole. Not everything's about being over the top and screaming and shouting and all this bullshit. You see, also the problem is this. There's a lot of women out there as well who are used to that toxicity from their past relationships, and they think that that's the right way that it should be handled. And I'm here to tell you that that's a bunch of bullshit. Because if they believe that that's the right way to be handled, and they don't come from necessarily a healthy family dynamic between the mom and the dad, they're gonna likely seek out dynamics that are also unfair, dynamics that are not healthy, dynamics that are very toxic, dramatic. But you hit the two birds with one stone if you respond in a demeanor that's very calm and firm at the same time, because you're putting that boundary. And at the same time, you're not being over the top. And also, I'd like to add a few points to what I just said. This guy specifically told me he's gotten coaching from 2 other coaches on YouTube. They're way more bigger than me in terms of their channels, right? But the thing is, he specifically told me, I swear to God, these are his words. This is not like marketing bullshit. That these coaches, although they gave him a good game plan, it wasn't specific. The first coach just literally just told him, bro, just walk away, which isn't necessarily wrong advice because it's actually right advice, but you gotta be more specific than that. Why should you walk away? How do you draw that boundary? And also, how do you handle situations in the future when they pop up like this so that you're, number one, communicating like an adult, and number 2, you're being very mature about it. And number 2, you're being very firm about it and getting what you want in the end. The first guy didn't do that. He said the second coach was really good. He personally told me he liked my coaching the most. Swear to God, this is what he said. You don't have to believe me, but it's okay. But you see, here's what I dislike. A lot of these coaches on YouTube give you a one-size-fits-all mentality, one-size-fits-all solution, instead of being open to personalizing their coaching to their client. If you have a client that's going through a situation, you're supposed to give them a personalized approach and tell them, listen, here's what went wrong, here's what you handled good, here's what you could have handled better, and it's supposed to be handled either this way, or this way, depending on the situation. And the reason why you should handle it this way is because you're looking for so-and-so, and you want to be honest and authentic and handle it the right way. A lot of these coaches don't do it. If you look at their YouTube videos, a lot of it is just like a one-dimensional approach. A one-dimensional mentality. It doesn't work like that. People aren't robots, bro. In some situations, yes, it's just a one-dimensional mentality, one-dimensional approach. But more times than not, it is not. More times than not, you're supposed to be open, and at the same time, there's different ways to respond to different types of people. It also could depend on your mood too. It could depend on your mood too. That doesn't mean you're gonna be a nice guy one day and an asshole the other day. No, it means that depending on how you believe that the situation is affecting you or how you believe the situation should be handled, that's how you should take it. And that's how you should kind of draw your boundary and put your own twist on it and your own solution, your own way around it, your own way to get through to the person in front of you. But anyways, guys, the moral of the story is if you wanna be in a position position where you're not walked over, and at the same time you want to put a boundary without going over the top and without being dramatic, without a ton of back and forth. Simplest way is to be concise and to the point and say, listen, I don't appreciate whatever so-and-so, and I can't take you seriously if you do so-and-so, and I also can't control you and make you do so-and-so just because that's what I want. So if that's not something to your liking, I understand. But if it is, that'll be great. Something along those lines. In a calm, concise demeanor, it gets right to the point. That way, you show the other person what you want, you're honest about it, and you're not too much of a dickhead or too much of a drama queen by doing it. That's how I'd respond to the situation. To be completely honest, I think that's the best way to respond. Remember, at the end of the day, you don't want drama. You don't want a bunch of talking, a bunch of yipping and yapping, a bunch of unnecessary toxic shit. You want a peaceful and calm type of relationship. And you want the dynamic between you and this person to be nice and mature, not really childish.